Also, in the
Oh,
we will have our good
Jesus
friend,
Christ.
Governor Bob
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank
We
you
would
so
like
much.
a lot of questions for Bob. I'd like to get into his wisdom and opinion. A lot of things I'd like to ask him about.
Yes, he can tell us what's going on the presidential side. There's different issues in the state that he can talk about, anything he wants to.
Yeah, so we were going to talk with him about that. And how are you all doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. I don't know about you, but
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people out
Well,
there.
they'll
I
let
know
us
how
know.
you're doing. I see you every day, 24 hours a day. I know how you're doing.
Jesus Christ, I asked you guys.
But it's
Thank you, Nick.
changed.
You're the only brains here. I'm yelling at people. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Like,
dramatically in their
thank you, Nick.
lifestyle.
Thank you, brother.
And in our case, of course, it's not bad. But in some cases, I mean, you have
Oh, yeah, one more.
people who are taking
All right.
care of elderly parents in their home. You have people with families, young families, and
Jesus
keeping
Christ.
those children happy and active and that sort of thing. There's a lot to it. So you can go out, you can take a walk, you can go in the park, but you have to be careful. And you can't congregate with people, and you can't go to the movies, you can't go to the theater, you can't go to the restaurants. It's a lot of things you can't do.
But
I know,
one
man.
thing that people are forgetting, and that's good, quality family time,
Well,
which
that's for
is
sure.
a thing of the past. I mean, I can remember every Sunday my mother and father taking us places. We would either go visit relatives, we visit
And
friends,
there's a traditional
and it was a
thing.
traditional
And you
thing.
ate too around the table. You all
Yes.
sat down for
Yeah,
dinner.
that's right.
And there were no cell phones or things like that to
No
distract you.
disruption.
So you were actually, with your family, putting your heart into your family.
And if you were sitting there with your mother and father and your brothers and sisters, and you were at the table, and you pulled the cell phone out in 1970, they would say, first of all, what is that? And second, put it away. What is that?
And I know right now my mother would probably smack me if I did something like
Oh,
that.
man.
And also, people like our parents, if they would come into today's world,
Thank you. Hey, how's it going, man? We here with everybody. Frederick,
they would think,
Michael Coleman,
What is Ron doing?
Renee Vick.
Ron, you okay back there?
Oh, I'm saying hello to everybody, and they're all saying hello to you.
Oh, tell them we
Okay.
said hello back.
Yes.
They said hello back.
I thought there was I don't know what happened.
No. There you go.
But, yeah, you can,
Everybody says hello.
today's world, watching someone walk down the street talking to themselves.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but the first time that I would see people on the cell phone, or they had their AirPods in, or whatever you want to call them, and they were talking, I
AirPods.
thought they were actually crazy and talking to themselves.
I had to take a second look.
Well, not only that, across
I
the
did.
street.
Well,
I
anyway,
did.
this is an interesting article, and I kind of like this.
I'll say howdy, guys. I can't. I got to
This
talk
is
to these
from-
guys. See how
from
jealous they
another
get?
state.
Don't talk to them. I'll talk.
And I just want to mention this. First of all, it's an open program besides our guests. You can call in. You can talk to our guests, of course.
Yeah.
410-922-6680. That's 410-922-6680. Or you can call us at 1-800-922-6680. That's a toll-free long-distance number. But this is interesting. In the state of Idaho. Now, Idaho is a nice state. It's a state where everybody's running away from California. They're fleeing California because California's like Maryland. It's crazy. They're going to Idaho. But Idaho State Representative Barbara Earhart, she played basketball at Ohio State University and went on to coach in Division I women's teams. But her career might have been over early if the situation was the way it is today. That's why she introduced House Bill 500, which was interesting. The legislation signed on Monday by the governor made Idaho the first state in the nation to prohibit athletes born male from participating in girls and women's sports. And, this is interesting. Now, this certainly flies in the face of political correctness. Honestly, I know firsthand
Christy Ray.
that was simply we can't compete as women.
Mark Buddha.
We are inherently
Hey.
physiologically proven that the advantages that boys and men have over women. We simply can't do it, regardless of any
Yeah, control the whole thing.
hormone use
And he gets mad because once I got to talk to him,
500,
this guy,
the
Pat
30
McDonough,
and Women's Sports Act.
he's not looking so I can do that. See, I do all the stuff I used to get in trouble in school, but I get paid for it.
Now, of course, it's being challenged by the ACLU and every other
One more thing.
organization that's politically correct and liberal in the state. Delegate or State Senator Earhart disagreed, arguing that transgender women still have physiological advantages even if their testosterone.
And I play
is
cool stuff
reduced.
too.
You will never compensate for the larger stature, the larger limbs, the longer limbs, the denser bones,
Larger lips.
the larger heart, the larger lungs, the ability to carry.
I have the mic. When I turn the mic on,
hemoglobin, which of course
Like right
carries
now.
oxygen and go-
Like right now they can, you know, they can't hear me, but I turn it on.
They're just
The fan
bigger,
is ringing.
stronger, and faster. So what she's saying is these guys who think they're girls are physically bigger.
WCBM,
Pat
McDonough server on Saturday speaking in his call tonight.
And they're competing against.
Hi,
women.
we were waiting
It's an unfair situation. So this is the first state in the country that has passed the bill. She actually introduced it and passed it.
Do you think that would ever happen in Maryland?
Delegate Malone is on 9.
That would ever happen. Maryland, and we'll talk with Governor Ehrlich, and we will talk with Delegate Malone. It amazes me when I talk with my friends and folks how many people do not know that Maryland.
See, line 9 is like the outside number, like emergency calls, like mom says, you forgot your lunch, you know, that one. So they don't see that. So I got to let them know. So now I'm teaching the studio stuff.
They have to wake up. Maryland is California.
Well, what's kind of interesting is because, you know, you and I travel a lot, and when we meet people.
Hey, Renee, you remember I got smacked in the head because I was singing the Carpenter song by Sister Clara? Bam! Me and Alan Bleach.
Oh, you know, we're getting high taxes. We get
She's watching. I'll give
in-state tuition.
Yeah, so anyway.
We Section 8 housing, you name it, we do it.
Right. And
What's that
it's
doing?
worse. It's worse. And we
Cool
got
songs.
our friend, the Delegate Malone, on the line, and we want to talk to him. Delegate Malone, thank you for calling in.
Great that you have me on. As I'm sitting here in my dining room, quarantined, we're not quarantined, fortunately, but certainly limiting my travel. It's a great Saturday evening.
Good sound, baby.
Well,
Good sound, baby.
you wrote an
See
article
how I control
in the
everything.
Baltimore Sun, which I'm shocked.
I brought my magic belt, but it won't let me ring it. This one I have at the house.
On this particular bill, or it wasn't even a bill, it was actually a constitutional amendment.
Now, you remember our Sabbath stream, right? I was telling you survival skills?
1028.
Now, I'm out and about, and they just crap over. So always have your Chianti, a little glass of Chianti. I'm going to take a glass and sip now.
The powers that be,
Little glass.
the Democratic leadership of Maryland decided to push it through when they focus on more important legislation.
Come on, we got to find something. It's
The
coming
way
up.
things work sometimes in Annapolis.
Well, you think they forced it through at the last minute when the snakes come out? Because they felt that was a strategy to deceive people and get it through?
One certainly wonders. It was in the Senate on March 17th, and then it got voted out of the Senate because it was only a Senate bill. It was not cross-filed in the House, so it comes over to the House. The way things work is a committee hears it first, but because we were in the last day of session, public was not allowed to be present for any committee hearings. It was heard by the Appropriations Committee in the morning of the 18th, which ended up being our last day, and then it was on
2
the
minutes.
floor for a second and third reading vote. In other words,
Then I got to eliminate 2 minutes and stuff like that. You know, all this other good stuff
there was
too.
never a
You know.
chance for the public
Ding.
to weigh in on it, and it dramatically changes how we do our finances here in Maryland. And to me, it was a great concern, which is why I wrote the commentary that appeared in the Baltimore Sun on Friday's paper.
That was great that you did that, because the Sun and the Post and everybody else, they really did not write about this incident. They did not write about this transaction, and it's momentous. It's a game changer. It's an earth shaker. Can't think of any more words, but it's big. And your article certainly brought it to my attention. I'd heard about it, but I didn't realize how important it was. Now, I also understand that the Republicans in the Senate actually voted for this thing.
Because it happened so fast, it's possible that occurred, that some of them may have voted for it. And that was part of the concern. You know, when things are moving fast and furious, things aren't well thought. There's not a good intellectual discussion about things. I can tell you that over in the House.
First one,
the House leadership. I want
no one
to
that does, but just, I mean, later on, you know what I mean? So you remember it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Sure that the
Okay. All right.
Republican members
Right.
knew about it.
And if you're in Cuba,
the morning of the
call long
18th,
distance, you know,
have a
tell
chance
that
to
number.
think about it a little bit, have a chance to read it over.
That's
once
my
again,
my
unfortunately,
piano
there's no
teacher used to
chance
say.
for public
Think a little bit.
you
I
know,
did. I
for
thought
there to be, some research to see if it was a wise move. We were literally trying to do, Googling and doing research on the floor to comprehend things. I was looking into checks and balances. Part of the strength of Maryland is that the governor, has the ability to propose a budget, and it's part of the checks and balances. And when Maryland is not happy with how the budget is being handled, how taxes are being handled, Marylanders have the chance to, vote in a new governor, since it's difficult to, flip the General Assembly to, be a new party. Marylanders can speak up. And of course, in the last 20 years, 3 times Republican governor has been elected. And most of those times were because Marylanders were fed up with the taxes. And, the more taxes means more money, and that means more spending. And Maryland put in a policy 100 years ago so that we had to have a balance. We had to follow the procedure we now follow. The governor putting forth a balanced budget. And the current procedure enables the General Assembly to cut things, but they can't turn around and say where it goes or to increase the expenses. But this new bill is going to change the way that works, which is very frustrating. The counter argument that was made by Democrats is it's going to be put on the ballot. But the way the ballot language is going to be phrased is it looks like the ballot language is going to say, and the very last part, and it'll say as part of a balanced budget. So, and this is going to take place, of course, in a presidential year where we're going to be focused on who the next president is. And, that's going to be the main focus. And people are just going to see, I'm concerned, they're just going to see the part that says the maintain part of a balanced budget. That's already in our Constitution. We do not need to have that part focused on. And I think that most voters will see that, which I agree is a great idea. But the idea that we're changing the checks and balances and the balance of power of Annapolis is devastating. This, in my opinion, potentially was the biggest bill of the session that got rushed through without folks having a chance to comment on or really think about it.
Okay, Mike, we have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more in detail about what this really does.
Can't take my eyes off you, Frankie Valley.
We'll be right back, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Are you facing tax problems? No matter how long it's been since you last filed, if you have faced unemployment, loss of a family member, divorce, or illness and feel you can't afford to fix your tax problems, contact Advantage Tax Service, the Tax Killer. With the Tax Killer Rescue Plan, you have options you'll find nowhere else. Since 1989, Rose Harbaugh, former IRS employee, has helped.
So, hey, everybody, man, thank you for joining me on the Pat McDonough, the Pat McDonough Show. 2 hours of power, 2 hours of power. I never can get this button.
They are here all year, preparing each return as if it were their own. And Rose Harbaugh, owner of
Is that better, man?
Service, met and was interviewed.
Get a freaking suntan, you know?
He did her.
But anyway, yeah,
So
okay.
give Rose Harbaugh,
So,
former IRS
John,
employee, a call at 410-869-2299.
yeah.
410-869-8299 or online at taxkiller.com. That's taxkiller.com.
Yes.
Are you
Brother Bozo, me and Renee, St. Clement's alumna. She remembers I got smacked and everything, man, by Sister Claire and Sister Noreen, you know. What is this on the desk? Oh, this, she took my head. Bam! Because, you know, I was reading the Lord of the Rings and stuff, the trilogy back then, you know, and I was like into it. And I accidentally carved into the desk, Frodo lives, you know. Babe, what is this? I knew how to shellac, sand, and everything. You know, it's everything's good. Everything's good, you know?
Certified technicians. Jeff services.
See?
Cars,
Yeah, Nick.
medium and light duty.
I would.
There are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Services. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned and conveniently located in the heart of Essex.
Hope everybody's doing okay with this freaking virus crapola. You know? Can't stand it. Enough's enough already. Jeez Louise. It's bad enough to close the bars. Little Lily looks vacant, man. I mean, come on.
Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
Okay.
What is your role in the fight against cancer? The answer could be as simple as driving your car. For many cancer patients, getting to and from treatment is one of their toughest challenges. The American Cancer Society needs volunteer drivers to provide rides for patients in your community. Schedules are flexible. Get the driver's seat against cancer. Call your American Cancer Society at 800-227-2345 or go to cancer.org/drive. That's 800-227-2345.
That's the IBM Model F keyboard. They called it the musical keys. Well, guess what? It's coming back. That's right, the second coming of the high-quality Model F.
Oh, I got peaceful, quite easy feeling coming up.
Tabs on the future. You might have to just maybe shift directions. Yeah, I'll stop right
Join me for the Kim Commander Show Sunday night at 10 on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
I like the way it's sparkling.
And now more of the Pat McDonough Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking about something, I tell you, this is ranking right up there with oxygen in terms of importance. To me, this is the biggest proposal, game changer that I can remember. And I served 20 years in the legislature.
Yeah.
And we have Delegate Mike Malone with us talking about this issue. And essentially, Mike, the way the law has been and the Constitution has been, the governor proposes a balanced budget, as you said, and then the legislature has the authority to actually reduce that budget in some way.
Yes.
But correct me if I'm wrong, this amendment puts them in a position where they can actually move money around. If you say, if the governor says, I want to give $20 million to Baltimore City, they can say, no, we want to give $40 million to Baltimore City. If the governor says in his budget, we want to give some money to the state's attorney in Baltimore City, $10 million, they can say, no, we want to give $10 million to illegal immigrants.
That's correct, Pat. That's what this does.
Oh, man.
It's the power of the General Assembly to move money, to cut it from one place and put it in another. It's potentially very harmful. It's right to the possibility of there being a lot of politics. There can be, if the General Assembly continues to be democratically controlled, the Democrats could move money that was intended for a more Republican area and move it to a more Democrat area. And all kinds of, different types of programs. And that's going to give the party in power the ability to do that. At one point, I mentioned at the end of the article, the commentary I had in Friday in the Sun, as I talk about, unfortunately, absolute power can corrupt absolutely. And that's what I'm afraid, this sets up a scenario that can happen, and we'll lose the ability of the people, if they want to, vote a governor that is of a different party from what the General Assembly is, to provide a balance on how things are discussed. This bill, puts it on the Constitution, but I don't like the way it's going to be phrased on the Constitution. That's going to change that balance of power.
Mike, I have two questions for you. And the one question is, did you say earlier that it's going to be in the presidential, it's going to be on the ballot in the presidential election this year?
That's correct. It's going to be on the November ballot. And that was part of the argument that I had wanted to to raise on the floor and to talk more about, but unfortunately, I was cut off, and they called for a vote, which means that you can limit the debate that's going on, and part of that limit may have happened because we were in our final hours. I still got to speak,
Josh.
but the only time I got to speak was what's called a stance
Okay.
where you get to explain your vote, but you're limited in time. I think it's 2 minutes that you get to explain your vote, and 2 minutes is not a lot of time.
No.
And I argued in that 2 minutes, this issue should have been put on a gubernatorial year, in other words, 2022, and that there was no need to rush this through because the constitutional language states that it's going to apply to the 2024 budget. So I saw no reason that we needed to rush this while we were trying to deal with legislation to give our governor more flexibility to deal with COVID-19, and without having a public hearing in the House. The process was flawed, the process was wrong, but it got forced through because the majority party wanted it to happen.
The liberal
Correct.
majority party, Democrat Party. And another question is, what can the governor do about this? Can he veto it?
He can't veto it because it's a constitutional amendment.
Oh.
So all we can do is try to educate everyone and let everyone understand the ramifications of this this bill that's going to be on the ballot in November, and encourage people to vote against it.
Yeah, now this is amazing, but people need to understand what is happening in the state of Maryland. I don't think the average person understands enough or pays attention enough, and certainly the Baltimore Sun and the Washington Post and the media in general is not going to educate them. But the fact of the matter is, this was the most earth-shaking, game-changing change
Wait a minute, hold on.
in our Constitution that I can ever
Vegas
recall.
is here. So anyway, that's
And
how
skids
the
were
milk
greased,
truck delivers
rushed
milk
through,
in
it
this
was all
fair
set up.
city. Oh,
Now what's
hi.
going to happen when it comes on the November ballot?
Vegas.
The Democrats are going to drop a ton of money on it. The Baltimore Sun is going to endorse it. The Washington Post is going to endorse it. George Soros, believe it or not, will come into town and he will dump $500,000. When we did the in-state tuition,
Another one.
No in-state tuition for illegal.
WCBM.
when we did that, Valerie was in charge of the field operations, and we did that in Maryland.
Hey, Pastor, how you
to
doing?
gather a record number of signatures to get it on the ballot.
Okay,
George
I'll tell you, you're
Soros
on
came
10.
into
You just
Maryland
hold on and I'll let him know that you're on.
to defeat
Oh, you're welcome, Pastor. Hold on.
our amendment that was on the ballot that would have prevented that from happening. Spent $1 million.
It's another, they call these outside lines, man. He tells them that.
I'm assuming they
Call a normal line. I'm thinking, that's the bat line, man. I'm talking to Commissioner freaking Gordon. All right, never mind.
To elect another Republican governor, it has to be a perfect storm. It has to be a really bad candidate. We have to have an unusual candidate. But one thing for sure, maybe that could happen. But with the General Assembly, I don't think, it may be 100 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, I don't know. But in my opinion, we are never going to take control of the General Assembly. And if that is the case, and these Democrats, what people don't realize, I mean, these Democrats are not high-in-the-wool Democrat liberals.
Angela con loco.
And not only are they radicals, but they're bullies.
You're absolutely right. That it's going to be very difficult to take over the General Assembly. Sort of one thing that particularly frustrated me is I've put forth in past years legislation to limit the gerrymandering that goes on in Maryland. And to me, that's legislation that should have been addressed rather than the Senate bill to change the budget process, because that does have to go on our ballot this November, because that's the only chance that we're going to have to change how the redistricting is done here in Maryland before it has to happen on the November ballot.
In the second hour, it's going to be a little rough to call tonight because the second hour we got people here. But keep it now. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when to call. Is Governor Ehrlich's going to be calling, and so I got to talk to him through him, and you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Maria Perez? Maria.
On morning of the last day of session, the committee that heard that type of issue instead dealt with things like, should there be a resolution passed to support DC statehood, and should there be limits on how the FIFA World Cup in North America is handled in 2026. those were the type of things that they were dealing with, rather than dealing with an important issue of like redistricting that the Governor Hogan has been trying to deal with, which had to be on this November ballot. So instead, they pushed the Senate Bill 1028, which didn't have to be this November, could have been 2 years from now, when an issue about Maryland's budget would have been more appropriate, because it would have been a gubernatorial year, and that's when the debate should be occurring, not this November.
I think that our listeners and people in Maryland in general do not understand how far to the left the General Assembly has gone. That's why I used to call it the Maryland General Asylum. But in addition to that, they play below the belt politics. They are bully boys, bully girls. Give me an example. I think you wrote in your article that one of the Democrat leaders felt that this was inappropriate and spoke out about it, and she lost her position.
You're absolutely correct, Pat. What happened was a delegate from Prince George's County, Delegate Valentino Smith, spoke on the House floor, sharing some of the same concerns I've just expressed about the process, about how this is rushed. And then right after this Senate bill was voted, it was read across the desk that her position as a committee chairwoman was no longer going to be hers, and it was going to be assigned to a different delegate. And I think
Marianne
is if you push
that, hey,
we'll take your
thank you for joining. A lot of fun watching
and loud statement of either march in a straight line as the party leaders tell you to march, or you're going to be sanctioned. And that chilling effect for
somebody else,
especially on the House floor.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling now? Hey, Mark, let me get you on here.
I can sort of get
rough one tonight, I tell you.
Of getting to my work and paying attention to my family. And
I'm talking out loud.
I came home and
what would you like to talk about, Mark?
A real injustice occurred today, and it took me far into the evening before I could calm down, because this is just wrong. This is not how America is supposed to work, and it's frustrating me a great deal.
Yeah, I've had many of those moments.
Okay, we're the topic on the table.
It's so sad
the very next caller.
The media in this state, the press in this state, is not, they're like part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. And there was nothing written about it of any consequence, so that the ordinary folks back home have no idea. People listening to this show, we have a lot of listeners. I'm glad for that. They're hearing about it, and we sent out the article and your comments on our massive social media network.
Massive social media network.
But and this is an earth shaker and a game changer.
Man, I brought my freaking bell. Remember the bell from the room?
I can tell you, Mike, this was planned all along.
We have to use a much calmer show here today. You see what I mean?
Example of how they
not
belt politics is to take away the chairmanship.
Emergency virus drink. Which remember the virus drink? The county. A little glass of county. Take a little glass.
And she's from Prince George's County, which is one of their great fiefdoms. And they don't. So people need to realize we have new leadership. For years and years on talk radio, I had people call in and say, "Gee, if we could just get rid of that damn Michael Bush and that Michael Miller, things would be better." And I used to caution them and tell them, "Look, when those guys go, whenever that will be, you may yearn for the good old days."
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct, and it got very little play.
2 minutes.
I do thank the Sun for running my commentary, but it didn't get a lot of play in the first week after session ended. One senator, former Senator Della, to show that this was not just Republicans who were crying out about the injustice. Senator Della, who I believe represented Baltimore City, he wrote about it. Maryland Matters, which is an online publication. They do great work, but they don't. But they don't have the contacts that the major media players have.
Constantly listening for sound.
Senator Della writing about it just shows how
there were
bipartisan folks speaking up against it.
So they're nice to me, right?
In the House or
Mike Damsel.
You ran a risk of being punished. for speaking up against it.
Marie, I crack you up. All these issues it now.
I really don't know the answer to this. Maybe you could tell me.
Mary,
I always thought in the amendment that you had to be in the house
I got something
for
better.
so many days. So many days for a voting session, so many days for this. And you had to be in there so long.
I got a behavior. He's looking at me.
Because of the virus, it was cut short. Is there any way that they can say, okay, anything that was voted on during the session is all canceled out?
I'm anxious to see if there is a legal challenge to it. What happened and how this was rushed. As Pat knows from his time in the House, normally you have a first reader, a second reader, and the third reader. And what happened was there was a second reader on this bill, and then there was a motion to suspend the rules to allow a third reader on the same day, which usually cannot happen. But because the Democrats have a supermajority in the House, and with a supermajority, you can pass to suspend the rules and allow for there to be both a second and a third reader on the same day. And that's how it got rushed through on the very last day of session.
Well, that should be unconstitutional right there.
Could be unconstitutional, violation of the rules, violation of the Constitution. But we'll have to see. Somebody needs to challenge this. Somebody in the legal capacity. I don't know, maybe Judicial Watch, if they want to do that. They don't normally do state issues. But someone, the Republican Party, I don't know, someone has to do it. But Mike, we want to thank you so much for bringing this to our attention and to everybody else's attention. I'm sorry, Mark. We want to, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's still early and I'm out of it already.
You keep looking at me.
I know that's the problem. Delegate Mike Malone did a great job on this issue. We'll see what happens, Mike. And, you can come back to us as we make progress and see what happens.
Well, thank you to both of you for having me on. You have a great Saturday night and a great weekend.
That was good. That was pretty good.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Caller.
Scott, check hear that? No, he just came in the last.
Anyway, we're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to talk with our favorite pastor. What was his name again? David Lewis. Okay, we'll be right back.
I'm alright. Nobody put up on me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just let it be? I'm alright.
A weak high pressure building in from our north, and then a weak cold front will cross through as we get into the latter part of our Sunday. We'll keep it mostly cloudy, keep those temperatures on the high side of average by a few degrees as we drop back into the mid-40s. A little warm on Sunday as we hit the upper 60s, mostly clouds, maybe some stray showers for the afternoon. Still looking at stray showers Sunday night, and we'll see lots of sunshine Monday with a few clouds. Mid to upper 60s.
I'll be back.
Jeff Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Every day, Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others might look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year. We're there to vaccinate over 1 million worldwide, including those affected by the current outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo. Because half of all maternal deaths occur during delivery or within 24 hours. We've assisted more than 1.4 million births around the world, including care for new mothers in Afghanistan. Because some countries only have 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we offer counseling and clinical care, providing over 400,000 mental health consultations worldwide last year, including care for migrants and refugees on the dangerous journey north from Central America. The fact is, your acts of care and compassion make our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
Our veterans risked it all to protect our freedom. One of the best ways to say thank you is to volunteer to support them. At a time in history where kindness is a virtue, volunteering at a therapy bag event, teaching a craft class, or simply helping veterans at a hospital means a lot. For over 47 years, Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization, with the support of citizens like you, has created, manufactured, and distributed therapeutic art and crafts projects for our veterans and military at no charge to them. As a national veteran service organization, Help Heal Veterans supports VA hospitals, patients at home, and our active military. Together, Help Heal Veterans and volunteers like you have delivered over 32 million therapy kits to injured and recovering veterans. To volunteer or learn more, visit healvets.org. That's healvets.org.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from. All that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Listen every Sunday
I'm
from
back.
6:05 to 6:20 a.m. for a
Hey, listen. Now it's time for the. It's getting warmer out. It's getting nice out. You know, get a T-shirt, man. So why don't you go to Bluefish Apparel? Bluefish Apparel's right here. Okay, look.
Are you facing tax problems?
Shut up. Anyway, Bluefish Apparel. Okay, look, Bluefish Apparel on Facebook. Okay, it's Steve Blueford. He's a good brother of mine, also a longshoreman brother. Call 443-278-4853. That's 443-278-4853. What do you get? You get anything you want. How's that? And it on T-shirts, on scoozies. Take a picture of your dog, your mom, anything. It'll go right on the T-shirt. He's a nice man. He doesn't yell. He's nice. And you can talk to him. Ron Savage sent you, and he might give you something as a surprise. It's nice. I have all these notes. If you only knew. If you only knew. If you only knew. If you only freaking knew. Alexa, if you only knew. Alexa, woo! I got a couple guys downtown, who play cards and stuff like that. You drink a little bit, and all of a sudden, whoa, salami, man. Someone just broke the freaking toilet. But don't worry, man. I got a guy, all right? Vince's tile work. He'll fix. He's always in the bathroom. And he's not doing number 1 or 2. He's doing you, because he'll take care of anything that you need in that bathroom, man. And he puts all his work up in the nice pictures and stuff when he's in the bathroom. That didn't sound right. His work in the bathroom, his towel work and everything else. All right, so go to Vince Palmer, Omer, and the operator. He's a nice man. He won't holler at you, nothing else. And y'all see his work. I tell you, that's Vince Tile Work. Vince's Tile Work right there. Vince Palmer, he's the owner, operator. Talk to him. Tell him Ron Savage sent you. He might give you a towel. All right, there you go. Jesus Christ.
Who I am.
Glad all over. Day card 5.
That's what people can do. That matters. For more information, visit whatcanyoudcampaign.org.
You say that you love me, say you love me all the time, all of the time. You say that you need me.
And now more of the Pat McDonough Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Pat and Valerie McDonough.
Glad all over. That's a good freaking song. Dave Clark freaking 5. Dave Clark freaking 5.
10 a.m. once again, Super Citizen Television is on the air, the only conservative TV show in the entire state of Maryland. It's on Sinclair Broadcasting. It is on, what is it on, Valerie?
Okay, it's on my TV. It's on my TV, Comcast channels 24, 803, Verizon channels 9 and 509, Dish and Direct TV channel 46.
And it's also on our email TV, which goes out the same day. So that goes out to tens of thousands of people. But anyway, on that program, we are going to have Ellen Sauerbrey, the Honorable Ellen Sauerbrey. We are going to have, what is her name? Danielle Hornberger, candidate for county executive in Cecil County, and Baltimore County businesswoman Sophia Montgomery. And Pastor David Lewis is on that show tomorrow, and he's here with us right now. Pastor, good evening.
Good evening, Pat and Valerie. How are you both doing tonight?
We're doing well.
Good.
I'm glad to hear that. I really enjoyed your last segment. I read about that Senate vote, And sad to say, Maryland, as it is presently constituted, is never going to change. There's too many rhinos in the General Assembly. The demographic makeup of the state won't change. They'll always vote Democrat. So I bring up a question we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we've heard about it in other states. Is secession a legitimate opportunity for us or not? Because if not, good people are going to continue to vote with their feet.
Well, there's no question about that, and I'm promoting Mexit, MEXIT. Mexit means Maryland exit.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What I'd like to do is I would like to take the Eastern Shore, Cecil County, Harford County, and Baltimore County, and create the new state of Chesapeake.
Great.
I like that. Now I'm putting Baltimore County in there to save my brothers and sisters in Baltimore County.
Right.
But we can make Ocean City the capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. People are getting out of here, as you pointed out. Anyway, they're voting with their feet. And it's so sad. People ask me frequently and have for years, Pat, what can we do about it? Well, I don't know. You know, like you pointed out, we are in a position where we are next to Washington, D.C., and we have all these liberals. It used to be just Prince George's County and Montgomery. That virus leaked into Howard and now even Frederick County, going into Carroll a little bit. So the dynamics of the state are there is no hope unless we can persuade 500,000 Republicans from Montana to relocate here, and I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But my concern, though, is, and other states have talked about this, is it a legitimate possibility, or is this just wishful thinking? Is there ever going to be another star on the flag? You know, I mean, can we get?
Well, I read an article about it. There are 5 states that are in the process. One is Northern California. That's a movement. Chicago, they wanted to get people in Illinois got together. They want to get Chicago out of Illinois and make it an independent state.
Wow.
There's a few other ones. In Maryland, there's never been a real serious movement about it. I think there was some talk about Western Maryland, but to me, that's not really practical because Western Maryland is big geographically, but it doesn't have any people there. And you would have to reach down into Frederick and Carroll, which is already getting poisoned. But Baltimore County, the Eastern Shore, Cecil and Harford, they're all contiguous. Now, can we do it? I don't think constitutionally we can do it because you're forming a new state. And the last time they tried to do that, Abraham Lincoln was around.
The sad part is, Pat,
Oh, hear that, Freddie Herman? Hey, brother, Freddie Herman.
Well, it is, but the fact of the matter, that's a good reason to get out of this state.
Yeah, but some of us don't want to leave.
No, not if you have grandchildren or family members. You don't want to leave them.
Sure, that's true.
No.
Well, listen, you know, tomorrow's Palm Sunday. Passion Week is lying before us here. Good Friday, Easter Sunday are on the horizon.
I know. How am I getting my freaking
This
palms?
is going to be the first Easter in America's history.
Oh man, I gotta talk to this priest on it.
Are locked.
How about that?
I got palms in the back of my car window, you know. All right.
In the history of
Oh
our
man,
nation.
this
We
is
can't
too much,
forget
you
the
know.
most important.
This zombie stuff, whatever it is,
Jesus came
it's
to
too
this
much.
earth to save us
Too much.
from our sins. It's something we can't do on
They're
our
not
own.
bread.
We need the Lord to do that. So I would invite everyone to join me on Facebook Live tomorrow at 11. I'll be on again Good Friday at 7 p.m. And there are other church services being held online as well. Please, don't forget the Lord. Don't forget your church family.
Now, Pastor, how do they get to your Facebook? What's the address?
Cub Hill Church. Go on Facebook and go to Cub Hill Church.
There you go. All right. Well,
That's simple.
so you are going to be on TV tomorrow. I know you didn't know that, but you are.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that. Well, because I don't have to be to the church. Is it the 30-minute broadcast? I can watch it at home.
Well, we sneaked into your home and we taped you sleeping. So you won't be speaking, but you will be on the air. Now, I'm only kidding. We took one of your great broadcasts. We had to put, we couldn't do the show.
Woo! And I thought I was
We couldn't do it
wild.
lively.
Right here, man. Help me out,
Right
right here.
together, and of course,
Michael
the
Coleman.
magician, Frank.
Thanks, Mike.
he
Thanks,
put it
baby.
Together, and it's a wonderful show.
Frank's the man. I'll be watching. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it.
God bless.
God bless. Okay, so that's Pastor Lewis. We have a caller. Let's talk to Mark in Baltimore. Where is he? Here he is.
Go ahead,
Mark. Good morning. Good evening, rather. Good morning.
Yes, good evening. Shalom to you and your listeners. And by the way, I just want to make a mention about our Jewish Passover holiday. Starts this coming Wednesday night, April the 8th. It's an 8-day festival and goes through Thursday during the day.
Yeah, now how can you go to the synagogue?
Well, we can't enter the shuls, and that's going to be an interesting Seder, two-night Seder.
I
mean, Wednesday and Thursday nights. That always make cash to make a vote. But anyway, so I just want to make equal mention on that. Now, the reason I'm also calling is, did the governor, or does anyone know the final wording, how the State Board of Elections here in Maryland is going to run the June 2nd Maryland primary?
Yeah, the
ballot, or how's this going to work?
well, it's going to be first of all, the one on the 28th of April to replace Cummings is going to be a mail-in. That's a total mail-in, as I understand it. Now, this other one on June the 2nd, I believe they are going to set up sort of like early voting, a couple of locations where people can go there.
Yes.
And mostly also a mail.
Well, Berzo.
They're going to, I think they caved in, and they're going to present those options available where you can physically go to a location. Not all the locations like you
and also
be available, but maybe sort of like
he got all three of them.
Voting situation.
Well, let me tell you, early voting, that is a mistake. And I'll tell you what, I looked at the polls on election day, early voting and all, as one of the chief precinct judges, and that is absolutely a mistake. I don't want to have Maryland make the same mistake like Florida did 2 or 3 weeks ago on primary Tuesday, when over 800,000 election workers didn't want to show up because we're afraid of the virus. That's horrible.
Yeah, but the
phone is freaking
is a mistake.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight, huh? Hey, Bob. Let me get you in here, man.
First of all, you don't even have a general election day at an election site. Anyway, I wouldn't even be in favor of voting at all because of the danger of getting the virus, especially for a poll worker. You get the idea?
Yeah, but I'm really not sure about the idea between whether they're going to have the early.
You're right at the mark,
That's
Bob.
a good question.
All right, hold on.
The thing I read was that
on
the election day itself,
take it off.
June the 2nd, that they were going to have options where you could go and physically vote, similar to the early voting locations. But I don't know if they're going to have early voting. It's
What
a
else?
question.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight?
Right.
Yeah, who's this?
So that way, that's what election workers will not be taking a risk.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Anyway, just wanted to wish you shalom and happy
And what'd you like to talk about?
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Now, we have...
You got it. All right, hold on. I'm going to get you on. Probably after the news.
Bob? Oh, that's not Bob. Here you go. Hey, Bob. Good evening. Thanks for calling.
Great connection, Pat. Thanks to you, and hello to Valerie and everybody listening. Ron Savage, the call screener, when I asked him, said that there hadn't been any discussion yet on the show about the shrinkage and decrease of the population of Baltimore City, now below 600,000 for the first time in the century, they say. Pat and Valerie, when I was a kid growing up in Baltimore.
What the hell happened?
Wait a minute. You still there?
Did we lose you?
Something happened there.
I'm in.
All right.
All right.
Bob, call us back after the news.
2 minutes left.
We'll put you on, okay? Here is Richard. There was a technical mistake there.
He touches these buttons all the time,
Richard,
man.
good evening.
Yeah, Pat, good evening. I thought I wouldn't be on till after the news, but I guess I'll hurry up because I imagine we're real short on time. But
yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, you got about a minute.
The Pat McDonough
Okay,
Show.
I like your idea, your previous idea, though, about
I know.
Just letting D.C. have Montgomery County and Prince George's and making a 51st state. And,
yeah, they can also have Northern Virginia, and we can do a favor for both states.
We can also give Baltimore City.
Well, it would be contiguous. We couldn't do it.
Well,
it's pretty visionary, and but I like that old idea. Your state of Chesapeake, I don't like that so much. But anyway, I really called about the coronavirus. I'm very upset about the mayor of New York saying that he's going to close churches permanently.
50 minutes, seconds.
Don't obey him.
I said 50 minutes now.
Close mosques.
Everything's timing. Everything's timing. You know, Fred, babe? You know, Fred? Don't talk to Vegas. You don't know.
Mosques, but they're closing
Oh, see, what you guys? I have to keep popping in and out, feeding the ranch and bringing horses in. Okay, let's translate that.
Could be. And he has no authority.
30 seconds.
And I think the man should be arrested for some very good reasons I can come up with.
Okay. Well, Richard, we have about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead.
Violation of the First Amendment and abuse of power and threatening abuse of power.
10 seconds.
All right. Thank you for calling, Richard. Sorry we don't have more time. We got to go into the Unstoppable News. I'm Pat McDonough with Valerie McDonough. We'll be right back.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and
right on time, baby.
On Talk Radio 680 WCBM,
You can press that button.
Baltimore, and WCBM.com.
No national lockdown. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News. President Trump refusing to order 9 governors to require their residents to shelter in place, claiming it's against the Constitution. This despite increasing numbers of corona.
All right, we'll be right back. Take a smoke break, Betsy. Here's a cigarette. Here's your cigarette, Betsy.
Use every power, every authority, every single resource we've got to keep our people healthy, safe, secure, and to get this thing over with. We want to finish this war. We have to get back to work. We have to get
When might that happen? Dr. Anthony Fauci.
every aspect
Who's this?
of that ending the COVID.
Hey, Peggy. How you doing?
Has some aspect of it.
Oh, I'm all right, sweetheart. Where you calling from?
Whether that's avoiding crowds.
All right.
6 feet away from people.
And what would you like to
whether
talk to
that's
Pat and
doing
Valerie
telework.
tonight?
All of it does that. That's our most important tool.
The U.S. has more than 300,000 COVID-19 cases now and nearly 8,200 deaths.
On the
President
what?
Trump predicting the week to come will be the toughest yet, with many more
On
deaths.
air
He says medical
mask.
supplies, including
Oh.
desperately needed
You got it.
ventilators,
Hey, hold on.
are
I'll put
getting
you
to
right
the
after news,
states that
Peggy.
need them.
We're working
You're
to ensure
welcome.
that the supplies are delivered where and when they're needed. In some cases, we're telling governors we can't go there because we don't think you need it, and we think someplace else needs it. And pretty much so far, we've been right about that.
Orland's said to be hours from running out of ventilators to treat its rapidly growing number of COVID-19 patients. That city has the highest coronavirus death rate of any U.S. hotspot, 32 fatalities per 100,000 residents. That's actually double that of New York City. Days from running out, New York City getting more than 1,000 ventilators from China and a loan of 140 from the state of Oregon. America's listening to Fox News.
It's a very confusing and stressful time right now, especially for our wounded and ill veterans and their caregivers. Practice social distancing, wash your hands frequently, and stay at home to avoid exposure. If you don't have symptoms or have questions, use secure messaging through My Healthy Vet or the VA telehealth service. If you develop symptoms, please call your local VA facility. We will get through this. For more details, visit va.gov/coronavirus.
This is a community and a geography starkly split.
Fox Nation takes you back inside the fight that has spanned over a century and defined a region. Now, Pete Hegseth returns to the Holy Land, exploring new ground on both sides of the disputed border.
I wish Arabs and Jews could live together.
We used to be exactly the same, learning that this fight is more personal than we think. Don't miss Season 3 of Battle in the Holy Land. Available now, only on Fox Nation.
Small business owners filling out that 5-page form trying to get money from the coronavirus economic stimulus package.
The new payroll protection program offers loans up to $1 million for small businesses to cover payroll, rent, and other expenses. And if those companies don't lay off any employees, the loans can be completely forgiven. Despite the issues that many faced, the Treasury Department says more than 17,500 loans were approved on the program's first day, totaling at least $5.4 billion. A recent survey by Goldman Sachs highlights why those loans are so crucial, with 96% of small businesses saying they have been impacted by the coronavirus outbreak, 75% reporting fewer sales, and just over half saying they won't be able to survive more than a few weeks or months without help.
Fox's Garrett Tenney, why that recovery package is needed.
The economy shed 701,000 jobs in March, bringing the unemployment rate up to 4.4% from 3.5% in February. Now, this number broke the 113
You done?
of straight
Good. Feel better?
job
Good.
creation that we've
Nice
seen.
out there.
And
Nice
half that
outside.
unemployment rate
Real nice.
50-year low.
Real nice outside.
Estimates were higher, some were lower. They pretty much were all across.
Anyway, you guys are asking, I'm going to show you one more time.
2 weeks.
Super Citizen, there it is. SuperCitizenUSA.com or call 410-238-0025. Join. Come on. Also, Pat's email. Here's Pat's email for those who asked. There's Pat's email right there. Pat McD at Comcast.net. Pat McDonough, Maryland.
Lakers legend Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Houston Rockets all-star turned coach Rudy Tomjanovich, also in the class of 2020. College coaches Kim Mulkey, Barbara Stevens, and Eddie Sutton, and WNBA star Tamika Catchings. I'm Jay Metzler. This is Fox News.
A weak high pressure building in from our north, and then a weak cold front across through as we get into the lighter part of our Sunday. We'll keep it mostly cloudy, keep those temperatures on the high side of average.
Take it off.
Degrees, just drop back into the mid-40s.
All right, that's it.
On Sunday, as we hit the upper 60s, mostly clouds, maybe some straight.
Now I gave you Pat's email. Now the main house. Hi, Melissa Cooper. You. Pat's mail for his house is Pat McDonough, P.O. Box 15470, Baltimore, Maryland 21220. Excuse me, the fin. WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage, speaking. Who's calling tonight, huh? Hey, Alex, how you doing? Real quick, where are you from? Where are you calling from?
Your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to 4hims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication.
All right, you got it, Alex. Caller number 3. Just hold on. All right.
Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/joy.
The WCBM studios are sponsored by a safe retirement solution. Call Rod Verroe for that solution.
Get ready for hour number 2. 2 hours of power. Come on.
Here on Talk Radio 680, WCBM and WCBM.com are not necessarily those of the owners, management, employers, and advertisers of WCBM, but they should be.
The Pat McDonough Show is brought to you by Rally for America.
Stand by. Stand by.
And now more of the Pat McDonough Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome back for our second hour. Pat McDonough here with Valerie McDonough. We're going to go right back to our call. Poor Bob. We want to go back to him because he was cut off for a technical glitch. We want to let him complete his thoughts. Bob, good evening once again.
Yeah, no offense, Pat. Good to be with you and Valerie and the listening audience. And just to repeat,
James, how you doing?
what I was saying is that for the first time in a century, the population level of Baltimore City is 600,000, and it shrunk to that.
Okay.
When I was a boy, as I mentioned, growing up, Baltimore City had nearly 1 million people, and it was a city that was a very proud city where good, decent, ordinary, everyday people could live. It was a great joy. It was a wonderful city with a good, strong industrial base.
That sounds
good
great,
port
James.
City. James
Look,
mentioned
don't
the late
springboard off that. You
author,
can talk about
prolific
anything you
author,
want. You're caller number 4. Right now, Bob, so it's really 2 more callers.
the energy and wealth of the north,
all right, man.
grace and charm of the south.
That was true to some extent.
All right.
And you know it well, Pat, with your background. Look at it today. There's 17,000 vacant properties. it's really the murder capital on a per capita basis. It's the murder capital of the nation. People are leaving it. It shrunk to 600,000, and the Sun has these almost, I would call them maybe delusional or airhead type of thoughts. This is just, I'll be very brief to read from their editorial, and it says, let me just get it.
Remember survival drink. Survival, Cosmo, survival.
Creating jobs, upgrading public
Melissa
infrastructure,
Cooper, survival.
creating affordable housing, and lowering the property tax rate should be high on the to-do list of whoever is elected mayor or to the city council this year. Well, there's been somebody who's been doing that, and his name is Donald J. Trump, and yet the Sun has never done anything except belittle, degrade, and attack him. So that's what we're up against. And when we talk about people leaving the city and the state, this is the mentality. And I'll let you speak more to it, but I think it's a big issue. What's happening?
Well, first of all, people have to understand that the Baltimore City has over 150,000 criminals. Of the 600,000, 150,000 people are people with criminal backgrounds, number one. Number two, there are over 100,000 people on parole in the state of Maryland. Has the highest parole per capita in the entire United States. And in fact, nobody goes to jail. And if they go to jail, they don't go very long. They come back to Baltimore City or Prince George's County. But above all of that, here is where the city can really collapse quickly. Yep. There are about 100,000 plus millennials, young working people, professionals who live in Canton, Federal Hill, and Locust Point, and some downtown, that if they ever get sick and tired of the carjackings and the bad education system, and they decide that living around the harbor is no longer a delight in a row home, the city's done. When they start to migrate, it's all over.
Well, we need influences that will try and reverse that, although things are pretty weak, but we hold the flag and we do what we can, and we're not giving up.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
One thing that I would like to know is, after the census come in and all the numbers are right, I would like to know how many of those people that have moved out of Baltimore City moved out with the voucher programs.
Well, a lot of them did. Of course, you're talking about Section 8. They moved out of the city, and there's a long waiting list, and they want to get into Baltimore County, which they feel is safer, but it's changing because of Baltimore City and Anne Arundel County.
Seating. Oh, the phone is ringing, calls me.
It's a racial question, and I'm not saying it is, but there are a lot of black people who just leave Baltimore City.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show, and Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight?
Take it in the city and move to Baltimore County.
Sure.
That's the way it is. But anyway, we want to talk.
And where are you calling from, Clinton?
In Pikesville. Peggy, good evening.
And what would you like to talk to Pat tonight about?
We're doing well, thank you, and you?
I have an idea.
Sure thing. Okay, you got two callers ahead of you. Clinton, we'll put you right on. All right, hold on.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. The president wants to get people back to work. What about if the people that need to go back to work to help stabilize the economy would be wearing those N9 masks? What do you think?
Well, the president said today and yesterday that it's important to wear the masks. It's a good idea. Why not? And if you have them, wear them.
No, I'm talking about the N9, the ones that the medical professions use. They are more protective.
You're talking about the ones that look like gas masks?
Oh, I don't know. The ones that the doctors and nurses wear.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on the masks, but he said that about wearing the masks.
Yeah, if you could pass that on somehow, that might be get some people back to work.
Okay, thank you. So what she's saying, basically, if people are dressed properly to protect themselves, that they should be able to go to work. That's one opinion. Here is Alex in Rosedale. Alex, good evening.
Go, Alex.
Oh, hi. Good evening. I'm Patrick Gonzalez. This is Alex. Just wanted to let you know that I really like the pastor that you had talking on on here is very nice with the church, and that's what the Republicans were saying for a lot of the church issues. That's true. I know it's good and bad. It's all with the church. The only fear I have is with this uprising, or this kind of government with this dictatorship. And Donald Trump is against this dictatorship and doesn't want stronger government. He wants more fair government, not stronger.
Hey. Very nice outside.
Yeah, this is.
Listen, hey, hi, Melissa.
Yes, and then my fear is that government is going to come and dictate to the churches. I know right now the churches are closed because of the coronavirus. I understand that. But this is just an open door for them to do further dictation to the churches that should be.
WCBM, the Batman. Going to sure about I was speaking in news call.
They should have their own idea.
Oh, right.
The churches should be.
Governor, if you please hold up, I'll get you right over.
But,
all right, well.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, we thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I just have one more question.
That was freaking Governor Ehrlich, man.
The other thing that I really miss out on is that laundromat. Even though it's essential service, there should be some form of them being open.
They are open, aren't they, Valerie? They're open.
I believe they are.
Well, the ones I see are closed. So I like to see more of them open just for health sake.
Well, some of them are open, Alex. But thank you very much for your call. Okay, we have our governor on the line, and we want to get to him very quickly, but let's get through a couple of these calls real quick. And this is James in Pikeville. James, good evening.
Hold on, please. 1 second. James
I don't know if I heard that, but you have the governor on the line.
Yeah, our real governor, the real Republican governor that we have.
What's you say, Governor?
Real quick, Pat. First of all, I wanted to talk about crime. It's very disappointing to me how the Democrats like Marilyn Mosby are using this opportunity to want to release. We know we're going to get this from the state level politicians in the House of Delegates and the Senate, that we want to release illegal immigrants, illegal aliens who have committed crime.
She wants to release American-born.
So I hope everybody's having this. Is always great. It's always good stuff. Always good stuff.
But you know,
always listen every weekend from 8 to 10. The Pat McDonough Show with Ron Savage.
It's a terrible thing. But the other thing I want to talk about, Pat, was this. I couldn't get to this when Ron Savage was taking my news that I could talk about it anyway. This mail-in voting.
And what I do, pal?
Yesterday, let me make the less furious with the way he said it. Is he was thinking the same thing I was thinking. If you tell people, and I know that they're asking how to do this, you can mail in a vote. Let's say even if you're a Democrat in Baltimore City, and nothing against Sheila Dixon, let's use Sheila Dixon. Let's say I'm gonna vote for Sheila Dixon 10 times, and even if they take, let's say they throw out 7 of the votes, they keep 3, and then how do I know the people who are counting the votes? What are their biases? You know.
Well, mail-in voting has proven in
Jeffrey's here. Jeffrey's here.
The fraud. They have what they call people that are called harvesters.
Wrong end. My whole head was full up.
And get people to vote a certain way and that sort of thing. It's very dangerous. Thank you, James. Appreciate the call. Let's talk to our last caller, and then we're going to go talk with our governor. We've got a lot of questions for him. Anyway, here is Clinton and Catonsville.
Go Clinton. Go
Good
Clinton.
evening.
Yes, sir. I have 2 quick questions. First of all, is there a lawsuit being filed by the landlords or any owners of property, rental property, against Baltimore County in regards to the Section 8 law, which forces them to take federal vouchers for,
Yeah, for Section 8, it forces them to do that.
Nobody call yet, man, because they got Governor Ehrlich on the freaking phone.
Well, here it's even worse now.
It's going to be a little bit. I'll let you know.
The state legislature passed the same law for the entire state. So now, if they want to take a lawsuit, they ought to go do it, for the entire state. But I'm not aware of any lawsuit at this point.
Okay, because it just seems to me that it's infringing on the landlord's right to be able to refuse something. It's not because a person's a certain color or ethnically or whatever. It's just a money issue, and
It's not only a money issue. It's a technically the.
Hey, remember the Gap band?
Have a lot of problems with the regulations. And
you accidentally dropped artillery on me. A bomb on me. That's a song.
People who are.
That's it. Just stab your freaking computer. Why don't you?
Property under normal circumstances, it's not easy to get them out of there. But under the Section 8 circumstances, it's very difficult. There's a lot to it, and for that reason,
2 minutes.
These people they just don't want to. They don't want to put up with it. They need it. It's their private property, It's private business, and the government should not have the right to interfere in that to that degree. But thank you very much, Clinton. Also, we have our governor on here. Bob, how are you there?
Pat, how you doing, buddy?
We're doing well. Unfortunately, we're up against a break, so we need to take a break. We're going to come back. We got a lot of big questions for you.
I'll be here.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
I'm a wife, a sister,
and a grandfather.
I always pick cool
I'm a
stuff.
research analyst, dance fitness instructor, actor. I'm a copywriter. I'm a veteran. I have lupus.
I'm a hitman.
Oh, I'm alive.
And I'm working at a job I love. I love
Because I was given a chance
to contribute my skills and talents.
To show that my disability is only one part
who I am.
who I am.
Now that they have the Galvin on the fan, I'm going to bring back. What song to come back on is it's a song about the burden and the beast. Yes. Figure it out, kids. Figure it out, kids.
We were trained to help others, but there's strength in finding help for yourself too. We're in this together. Even the toughest of us might not know where to go for support.
Again, we got savage streams I throw out there once in a while. Woo! I don't think it gets me in freaking the tank top anymore, but because but at the time, I thought that everybody needed to get together at once. I thought about you people first. Boom, I'm on there. Here we go. I'll say it. Well, let me see the tank top. Yeah. But anyway, I'm glad that I could do that. And there'll be everybody get together and see if you can come up with some ideas. What did you hear out there, man? What's going on? What's the word? What's the buzz on the street? About this freaking this virus. I'd like to know, and everybody else on my friends list would like to know, and everybody here is as a team would like to know. And I'll go ahead and dictate that to you, what's going on, and we can play back and forth and play Q&A a little bit and get through this crap, man, because this is stupid. They closed the freaking bars. Come on already. Jesus Christ. All right, that's all.
Visit K9Concepts.com. The best for your dog. Call 410-477-2000.
Are you facing tax problems? No matter how long it's been since you last filed, if you have faced unemployment, loss of a family member, divorce, or illness, and feel you can't afford to fix your tax problems, contact Advantage Tax Service, the Tax Killer. With the Tax Killer Rescue Plan, you have options you'll find nowhere else. Since 1989, Rose Harbaugh, former IRS employee, has helped many Marylanders and others outside the state resolve their problems. Advantage Tax Service has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and works overtime to assist the taxpayer to avoid additional penalty and interest. They are here, all year, preparing each return as if it were their own. And Rose Harbaugh, owner of Advantage Tax Service, met and was interviewed by Tom Marr when he did her ads. So give Rose Harbaugh, former IRS employee, a call at 410-869-TAXX, 410-869-8299, or online at taxkiller.com. That's taxkiller.com.
While I was lying in the Army hospital in Germany, my parents got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag. Give me 30.
As America's Veterans face challenges, DAV is the
military. And when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, alcohol, and had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation.
Oh, this front door. This front door. Oh, I'll show you this in a minute. I'll freak people out walking that night.
I was able to build a new life for myself.
But, sir, I'll do other things too. I'll do that. Johnny, we can't get a reading on that. Where you at, babe? And then I'll get on. Hey, big day, Doc, I see something coming up. I haven't seen nothing like this in my life. And then stop. Hey, Johnny, come in. What was that, man? Johnny, are you all right, man? Come back in, please. I don't have these people outside. Woo! It's a true story. Yeah. I love me, Joby, now. I'm doing all the shit I got in trouble for in school. They pay me for it.
Patients, especially those undergoing chemotherapy, may need blood during their treatment. Cancer takes so much, but you can help by donating blood or platelets. Visit givebloodtogivetime.org to give now.
Well, anyway, just pointing it out. I don't who will. There can be no anymore. I know. I can't help it. There's so much crap going on here.
Going back in.
Look, you'll all do what you want to do.
The burden and the beast. The burden and the beast coming up.
Conservatives, you're intelligent people. Some of you aren't conservatives, but you're intelligent. You're listening to this program, and we get into substance. Am I supposed to sit here every day?
Don't miss the great one. Weekdays at 10 on Talk Radio 680.
And now more of the Pat McDonough Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. And don't forget, tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Sinclair Broadcasting, our Super Citizen TV show will be on, the only conservative program on television in the entire state of Maryland.
Yes.
Pat and Valerie here with you, and we are very excited to have our friend Governor Bob Ehrlich. We have some big questions for the governor. And Bob, thanks for taking the time to call in.
Go.
Wait a minute. Bob, thanks for taking the time to call in.
Well, it's great to
He's
hear
pressing the
you,
buttons again.
talk to an old friend.
Now, the first question I want to ask you is your opinion. How is this crisis going to affect the president's reelection?
God, Pat.
I told you they were big.
I hope your other questions are easier. You have to divorce your wants from objective reality first. Obviously, you want, all of us want the president to be reelected. No one truly knows the answer to that question. My suspicion is, though, that given the fundamentals of the economy, how strong we were prior to this, plus his performance, which I rate pretty highly during this pandemic, will result in his reelection. I do believe that. Now, I also believe the following. I'd love to see your view on this as well. I think that the establishment Democrats saw, obviously, the Bernie train coming down the train and coming down the track, and they did what they needed to do to end that train, because they and all of us saw lots of damage down ballot should Bernie be the nominee. Very few people thought he would be the president, but a lot of people, Democrats included, especially the establishment, saw down-ticket Democrats getting hammered, particularly in the House. So I think that right now, the establishment Democrats, the people who really control the party, see their best bet as Joe Biden. And on our side, we go, what, are you kidding me? Are you seeing the tapes? So there's obviously lost something else in fastball. But from their perspective, Biden does not necessarily mean getting hammered down ballot. I think, and that's their first priority is to save the House. And secondly, he could win. I doubt it. I think the Biden 10 years ago would be a more formidable challenger for the president, but I don't think the Biden of 2020 is. So that's my thought. I'd love your opinion on that. I do think that that's generally been the mindset of the Democratic Party.
Oh, no, without question, that's their mindset. But the Bernie virus is bigger than Bernie. And the problem they have is that he has 800 delegates.
Yeah, and which lends itself to what you're going to say, which is, what do they do? What means do they employ to placate those delegates?
Yeah,
if you want to win the presidential election, the answer is not much.
I got to play it cool with the governor. You know what I mean? Governor. I got to play it cool with it.
Placate the growing,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Their party, which is the progressive branch of their party, they'll do it, and they'll assuredly suffer, in my view. So it's a little bit of a no-win for them. You and I both know that I represent them, you represent them. They're not really heard from.
Oh, that strange man Noah's here. That strange man Noah.
Of conservative and moderate Democrats left in our country. They're not represented by Bernie.
Let's hear it for strange man Noah.
And so the
way I see it is you have basically three wings of the party. You have the moderate conservative Dems.
That was for the strange man Noah. He's also our wizard and our advisor. We have a machine here with his head in it, and he says, "Ask me anything," you know, when we're in trouble, and he helps us. That's all I can say.
A lot of people thought our party would suffer from this last time, but the fact of it is, some people holding their nose, but nevertheless, all Republicans coalesced around the president. That's not going to be the case here. You're going to have some burning people stay home, and you're going to have a lot of conservative Democrats, do as they did last time, vote for Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, I think that the Democrats have a real problem because there is a radical movement. It's really not part of the party. It's a radical movement, and they know they're in a position to take control of the party. And they don't care about this election that much. Of course, they want Bernie to be the nominee, but even if he is not the nominee, they don't look at it the way the establishment looks at it. They want to be in the mix. And in fact, they probably don't want Biden to win, and a lot of them will either not vote or will vote for even Donald Trump, which some of them admitted the last time. So they're in for the long game.
I always see Biden as akin to Bill Clinton, and you and I know Bill Clinton, for all his faults, was not as liberal as Joe Biden.
No, and he probably wouldn't even be allowed into the Democrat convention.
Let alone John Kennedy or Harry Truman.
Oh, no, they wouldn't even be allowed into the Republican convention. They were too conservative.
Well, that's the fact of it. Harry Truman and the John Kennedys of that era would be moderate Republicans today.
Yes, they would. So I don't know what to say. If a lot of ifs. If this thing gets over in about 30 days, economically everything is still in place. It's not like the Great Depression.
Right.
Things are in place. They're all strong. They're not weak. Everybody goes back to work. Everything starts to return to normal. And if that is the case and people look back and they reflect and they say the president did a good job as a leader on this crisis, which is very unusual and difficult for anybody, and the Democrats played politics, and we are moving forward, I think his chances are very good. But if this thing gets worse and things don't pop back, who knows?
Well, I think you're right. My suspicion is sort of 1A. Because, as we said, the fundamentals are so strong because of deregulation, because of tax cuts, because of the fact of a businessman and the president, and just a lot of success in economic growth. The baseline here is strong. Now, we all know that the damage is so severe, so quick, that we're not going to bounce back quickly. It's going to bounce back quickly given the extent of the damage.
Oh my God. Bruce, we went over this. You're the only caller here that's champion the government.
And we'll bounce back, I think, fairly quickly under this president. So, again,
yes, he does. Yes, he does. Valerie's right here on standby.
I think we'll bounce back. It won't be all at once. It won't be fast, but it'll be steady.
Was it the monkey song, Valerie?
Enough to remind people how good things were the first 3 years. I think with a relatively weak candidate in this Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who's saying that?
But this Joe Biden. I think his appeal to those working class
not yet.
crossover Democrats will be limited. And as a result, my prediction is the president will very likely be reelected.
Well,
okay, hold on, man. Here's the next call.
With Joe Biden, people will be thinking of people like Obama and different Democrats.
Bruce, let me tell you something. Bruce from Parkville.
The damage that they did during
it's always
the
drunk.
time they were in the presidency. What do you think about that?
Because I'll tell you what. Where's that Noah Dankner? I want to talk to him. You don't even know. I don't know. I just want to. Do you think I'm joking around? What I just did. I'm a
liberal.
And I'm gonna let.
I'm a liberal. I've been
off the golfing on you
now. Of Democratic liberal senators and the tradition of Hubert Humphrey and Walter Mondale, and I'm a liberal. And if this was 10, 15 years ago, and Joe Biden was spouting a liberal Democratic principles now. I would say that we might have a difficult time in crossover country in Western Pennsylvania, for example, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, because he would play the working class Joe thing, and I think
Working class heroes on the TV.
However, just like Hillary Clinton, at least to so far, it's been no, I'm really more progressive, Joe. I've learned. Forget the Hyde Amendment.
Do you have your sticker, your button? Do you now? Do you now? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
This whole thing about playing the hands of
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
these progressives that are trying to take over the party. And to the extent you see Democrats play that game, it just doesn't work. It didn't work for Hillary Clinton. It didn't work for the Mayor Bloomberg, who, was liberal for our taste, but ran a pretty good city for the most part. What did he do when he announced? He started apologizing for his own position.
Yeah, they're all captive of the radical left.
And they think they have to placate the radicals to get the nomination. And to the extent they think that, good for them, because they've turned off Flyover America.
Yeah, they have. And then that's the situation. And I think that's going to be the future. I don't see anybody coming from the way Clinton came into the Democrat Party in the 90s and said, I'm more of the middle of the road guy, which he wasn't. But at least he recognized that people were looking for that. But I don't see that anywhere on the horizon, anywhere in America,
not at all.
as far as Democrats are concerned. But the other big question I wanted to ask you about, the House and the Senate, how are we going to do there?
Well, I think we'll keep the Senate. We may pick up a seat or two. The Senate's really on relatively few radars because most Washington Democratic pundits do not foresee even those seeing a Democratic year would not foresee a Democratic loss in the Senate. The action's going to be in the House. The action's going to be with a focus on those 30-odd Democrats who come from red districts who won the midterm elections, riding a temporary anti-Trump tide, but also campaigning on a very moderate platform. Will be part of the discussion in D.C. Will be part of the solution, not part of the problem. We'll agree with the president from time to time. And what happens? Boom, they get to D.C., they go Nancy Pelosi's side, and they voted straight down the line. And so a lot of those Democrats did not want to follow the impeachment train, but they voted for it nonetheless, and they're going to end up paying the price.
Bob, what do you think about mail-in voting?
I think I share Pat or Pat's earlier. Pat and I, all three of us have been through, we were through the Salad campaign in '94. We've been through a lot of questionable elections, and anything that invites voters.
McDonough show, Ron Savage speaking.
Well, I wanted to switch gears a little bit. You told me many years ago that you felt the state was moving to the left, and that it was like unstoppable, and it was not going to be good. And when every 4 years when I got reelected, it got worse and worse and worse. And I've talked to some of our people that we know down in Annapolis who are lobbyists that have been there through all of this. And, lobbyists are supposed to be neutral, but of course they're experienced, and despite what people might say about them, they're pretty bright people. And they all are saying the same thing, that this bunch down there now is just beyond belief. And personality-wise, they don't have any personalities.
Well, here's the deal, Pat. And for those listening to us, Pat and I go back a long way in the legislature. And when you first came to the legislature, when I first came to the legislature, the power brokers in the Senate, Democratic chairs,
always, yeah.
Democratic chairs, by and large, were right of center business people. They were bars and restaurants. Pat, you can pick off the names if you want. The John Culahans, the Jim Simpsons, the Don Casey's. They came from suburban Maryland. They were pro-gun most of the time. Many were pro-life. They were conservative on the economic front. They were conservative on the social front. They represented a Democratic Party that had suburban, rural, conservative roots. The leaders came from that wing of the Democratic Party as well. And so the fact that we were so weak as Republicans was not that big a deal because the dominant party in the state legislature had a very conservative wing. And when you added the few Republicans to that wing, we won a lot of votes, right, Pat?
Unbelievable, but it happened, yes.
And now you fast forward to today, where all those Democrats have either been defeated, retired. That way of Democratic Party is now, from what I can tell, Pat, literally non-existent.
Yeah, it doesn't exist at all.
Really, it's been wiped out off the map.
There's this man named Mr. Edgar. Barry Andrews, yeah. Mr. Edgar. And we're going to exit with a song. Mr. Edgar wrote something about freedom, a free. What did Mr. Edgar write? The song. It's a wonderful song for bedtime for small children. It's called The Free Ride by Mr. Edgar Winda.
To the dominant party. The dominant party is now very progressive, very hard left, and you see it play out in the legislature.
I want to switch. While we're talking about the legislature, there were two amazing things they did. One was this Kerwin bill, which, as Hogan said, and I think he's right about it, it's nothing but an excuse for more taxes.
Yeah.
$30 billion or 40, whatever the number is.
Barry, we got the Golfinet on the thing. The Golfinet is on the thing.
That in itself is amazing that they got this bill through.
Pat, I mean,
Can you freaking believe it?
You mean amazing in an objective sense?
Yes, that.
I was talking about action.
You've seen this movie how many times already?
Right, not for them, it's not amazing, no.
It's the same motive. It's we don't spend enough coal. Fill in the blank, right? And education is always the first answer, and regardless of how they spend the money, regardless of academic performance, regardless of anything else, it's always more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's if they control the votes, they can pass whatever tax bills they want to pass, and they usually do.
Yeah, we had Mike Malone, a delegate, on earlier, and in the last 2 days of the session, which was shortened, I never thought I'd ever see that, but it was shortened, and they passed a amendment to the Constitution that allows the General Assembly to spend money despite what the governor does. The governor puts the budget forward, and he puts it forward, it's balanced, and then they can reduce it. They want to pass this, and it's going to be on the ballot in the presidential election this November, gives them the new authority. If the governor wants to put $20 million into Baltimore City, they say, no, we're going to put $50 million. The governor says, we want to put money into the state's attorney's office. They say, no, we're going to give it to illegal aliens or immigrants. They're going to have that authority. And they passed it without a public hearing.
This is the most monumental power shift that maybe we've seen in our entire careers.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
It's a game changer. People do not understand it. I hope and pray the party undertakes an educational campaign in this respect. People, and you just explained it very well. We've had executive budget. Governors put it together. Governors put the blueprint together, and the legislature can cut, but they can't. And it's worked. Now you have Republican governors in minor areas.
Oh, no.
Like it.
All right, she saw us. We got to hurry up. All right.
Get back to the chessboard.
I didn't do nothing.
It's a whole new ball game.
Whole new ball game.
And with the spendaholics they have down there, my God, who knows where it could
2
go.
minutes over break, Bob.
I just hope
Bob.
Yes, yeah.
And
I call him Bob.
Really
Say
Well, we're going to try. It's going to be on the ballot. You know they're going to spend a ton of money to support it. Whether we will spend any money at all or whether or not somebody will take it to court because of the conditions under which it was passed, I don't know. But anyway, what about you? Do you have any political designs in the state of Maryland or for the future?
No designs in the state of Maryland. We obviously live here, raising a family here. If the right
3 minutes over commercial
position in the administration would come up next time, I certainly consider it.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You know that, but we'll see. We got to get him reelected first, and Kendall and I are all about that.
Now, Kendall is in the administration.
She is running the SMART program out of DOJ. She's recently left the drug czars operation, and now She's running the SMART program, which is the federal office at the Department of Justice that oversees.
Valerie's real. I love Valerie.
Sexual predator.
Look at Valerie. Look at Valerie.
Around the country. So Kendall is very well thought of,
Valerie.
obviously, by the president, by the administration.
Look at
We're excited to be part of the Trump
What is she
administration.
looking at?
That's
on
great.
there?
She'll do a terrific job.
I'm very, very proud of her, as you know.
Yes, you should be.
You should be.
And I have to say, I'm very proud of Valerie because she's sitting here, but I would say it anyway if she wasn't.
We've loved her for all these years. She put up with you all these years. She deserves a medal.
Yeah, she's a strong woman.
Yes, she is. God knows. But it's really great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we got to have you on more often. We'd like to hear your thoughts on these things. And also, we want to get are you working on a book?
Well, I certainly have. So I've been writing a lot. Yeah, thanks for the plug here. I've still been, believe it or not, you know, the last book has done so well. I bet you didn't see that one coming.
I got it. You sent it to me.
And it explains sort of the rise of Donald J. Trump. And I used that book in many speeches around the country the last couple of years in explaining the president, his MO,
right,
how he operates and all that, and why he's doing what he's doing. And I'm still doing that, but I do have potentially another book in mind. I've written some things. I continue to write for the Western Journal, by the way. I would really recommend to you, Pat, I know you know it, but to your listeners, it's a very, very highly respected.
Come on, man. Dying for smoke break, baby.
The Western Journal. Dick Morris and Governor Huckabee and I write an awful lot for that publication. Mm-hmm. And also, we're getting my Twitter up and running. It's at Bob_Ehrlich. I'm going to be using Twitter more to get my message across. And hopefully we'll be out on the road for the president as well.
Okay, well, this summer we got to get you over here in Baltimore.
Mr. Russell. Tina Seal.
Woo! I'll be this kid.
That's right. And how's your mom and dad doing?
Dad's had some health issues. Mom as well, but they're hanging in there. My dad will be 90.
Wow.
He's always been a Pat McDonough fan.
He's a good man.
And my mom will be 85. So they're kicking. They're kicking.
Well, God bless all of them and you too. And I know your boys are doing well.
Boys are doing well. Drew at Denison, multi-sport kid, football and baseball, and Josh is a quarterback and point guard and shortstop at Broadneck High School.
Boy, that sounds like somebody I know, doesn't it, Bob?
Very proud of him, obviously. We don't miss many games.
All right, Bob. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate you calling in tonight. Take care.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right
With a weak high pressure building in from our north, and then a weak cold front across through as we get into the latter part of our Sunday. We'll keep it mostly cloudy, keep those temperatures on the high side of average by a few degrees as we drop back into the mid-40s. A little warm on Sunday as we hit the upper 60s, mostly clouds, maybe some stray showers for the afternoon. Still looking at stray showers Sunday night. We'll see lots of sunshine Monday with a few clouds, mid to upper 60s. Jeff Eno from the Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Allow me to offer some sound advice. More than 35 million men, women, and children have hearing loss, and the number is growing. You need to begin your journey toward healthy hearing now by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. The center is located in Perry Hall. Begin your journey to healthy hearing by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. This message is sound advice.
It's spring and time to get going on that honey-do list, but you've got a lot of other things on your plate. That's why there's the Happy Man from Heaven. He'll take care of all your indoor and outdoor projects, including gutter cleaning, power washing decks and siding, window trim and screen repair, interior, exterior painting, or whatever needs fixing. Amy says Happy Man from Heaven offers superb customer service. I'll hire them again and recommend them to my friends. Happy Man from Heaven has an A rating on Angie's List and has received 10 exemplary customer service awards. The Better Business Bureau gives them an A+ rating. Handyman from Heaven was also voted the best handyman of Baltimore in the recent Best of Baltimore poll, and they don't bid to subcontractors. Call Handyman from Heaven 443-772-1788, 443-772-1788, or visit handymanfromheaven.com. He'll do things on your honey-do list your honey just can't get to.
We parents hear our kids say lots of things that can get us pretty worked up. Things like,
Look, Mom, no hands.
and
Ouch, that hurts.
look, you'll never completely stop worrying about your kids, but you can breathe a little easier with free or low-cost health insurance through Medicaid and CHIP programs in your state. The truth is, they're covering more kids and teens than ever before. So even if you've applied in the past, even if you don't qualify, your kids can now be eligible for regular doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and more. So the next time you hear,
Ooh, I don't feel so good.
relax, your kids can be covered. Get us kids covered today. Families of 4 earning up to $49,200 a year or more may qualify. Just go to insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight?
Frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray.
Hey, Jeff, let me get
For
you the
more
magic computer.
information, Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association
Okay, and
of
what you're talking
Broadcasters and this station.
Listen Sundays at 9 a.m. for Radio Mass of Baltimore, the live liturgy of the Sunday Mass from St. Ignatius Church in downtown Baltimore. And again at 6 p.m.
Okay.
for rebroadcast. Following the Mass, stay tuned for a message from the Archdiocese of Baltimore on Talk Radio.
All right, Jeff. I'm getting ready to go on, but you're calling number 3.
No matter how long it's been since you last filed, if you have faced unemployment, loss of a family member, divorce, or illness, and feel you can't afford to fix your tax problems, contact Advantage Tax Service, the Tax Killer. With the Tax Killer Rescue Plan, you have options you'll find nowhere else. Since 1989, Rose Harbaugh, former IRS employee, has helped many Marylanders.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. And who's calling tonight?
Advantage Tax Service has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and works overtime to assist the
Okay.
taxpayer to avoid additional
Okay, let me
penalty and
get you
interest.
on.
They
That's
are
all right,
here
I'll get you on.
all year, preparing each return as if it were their own. And Rose Harbaugh, owner of Advantage Tax Service, met and was interviewed by Tom Marr when he did her ads. So give Rose Harbaugh, former IRS
Yeah, I'm gonna
employee,
try my
a call
best.
at 410-869-TAXX.
All right, hold on, we're getting ready to go on. Hold on.
8299 or online at taxkiller.com. That's taxkiller.com.
When your vehicle needs help, Jeff's Automotive.
That was drunk Bruce, and he said that he was on the toilet, so he forgot. But I got him on, so he's last caller now.
Including cars, SUVs, trucks, both medium and light duty. And there are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Service. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned and convenientally located
Hey,
in the
Pat,
heart of Essex.
Bruce was number 1, but he lost the call. He's number 4
Jeff is
now.
the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2019 by the Avenue Newspaper's Readers Poll. Jeff's offers 10% discounts to all seniors and active military members and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
And now more of the Pat McDonough Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Okay, we are back for our final segment, Pat and Valerie McDonough. Don't forget tomorrow at 10 a.m., the only conservative television program in the entire state of Maryland, Super Citizen TV. And that is on Comcast, it's on Verizon. Comcast, it's 24. It's on DirecTV. It's on Sinclair Broadcasting, MyTV. Tune into it. And Valerie, you have your Facebook doing very well.
Yes, I do. And if anybody would like to contact me, go to Valerie McDonough And you'll see my Facebook page. There's a lot of interesting pictures on there, some of Bob and some of different places that Pat and I have gone through the year. You'll see pictures with Pat with Kellyanne. There's a picture of
Kellyanne who?
Kellyanne Conway.
Okay.
And one of the most interesting times you just heard Governor Ehrlich talk about, that he and Pat have known one another well. One of the things that I thought was kind of interesting was when Bob was a congressman, and that was before he was governor. And
No, he was governor.
Yeah, but he was also a congressman.
And he was a congressman, but when you talk about his children?
No, I'm talking about when he brought Sonny Bono into town.
Oh, yes.
And that picture is actually there on my Facebook page. So I think if you would go to Valerie McDonough Facebook, you'll see a lot of pictures that bring back old memories to us.
Yeah, and Sonny Bono, that was his last interview.
Yes, it was. It was his last interview.
Before he hit that tree. Yeah.
Before he passed. It was a tragedy before he passed away. And another thing that people don't know was that we actually filmed that radio broadcast show. We actually filmed it, and all the news stations around the country used that video.
Yeah, and you have Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani, and
when he had a lot of hair.
And what was funny about that was that when Governor Ehrlich and President Trump came, before he was president, when he came into Maryland, the first person to walk through the door at the diner that we were at was Bob Ehrlich. And of course, we had no idea who was coming in the front door. And it was Bob. And we go, "Oh my God, Bob, how are you?" And the next thing, and it was Kendall all there, and they're coming in. And the next person we see was Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
And it was just
This was at the diner, Boulevard Diner in
Dundalk. And then came the president. And it was just an amazing thing to have all those people in one room coming to see everybody in Dundalk.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a lot of calls. We're going to get to these calls. We're going to talk with Mike, who is in Parkville. Make sure I get this right here. Mike, good evening.
Hey, how you doing? In the past, Bob has ran hot and cold with me, but I think regarding the current situation, Bob is spot on.
Right, yeah.
And I have to encourage him to run for the Senate the next time.
He would be a good candidate, but I think Bob's like me a little bit. He's lost faith, not lost faith, but maybe more realistic about how many votes are in the state of Maryland that would be good for a Republican.
Yeah, there's a time in life you just got to put it out there and
see if it works.
Wins or loses, he can still make his point.
See if it works, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's on your mind tonight?
Just basically the virus, which everyone is suffering from, and I think Trump is doing the best job he can. And it's amazing that, he's trying to split the middle. He don't want to economically destroy us, and
it's
us to get over the
Mike from Parkville. Mike from
It's
Parkville.
almost like cancer. You don't want to put too much chemo into somebody to the point where you lose them, but you've got to put in enough or some kind of remedy to help to get rid of the cancer. And it's a fine-tooth comb kind of a situation. And basically, it's also who else has been in a position like this.
And I just feel the man's going to get the job done.
Yeah, I have confidence in it.
You know what I think is an interesting thing that I just thought about? When we had 9/11, we had Rudy Giuliani
As the mayor.
As the mayor. And that was a tragedy that America will never forget. We just won't forget it. And we recovered. We did a wonderful job recovering. Now we have Donald Trump as the president. We're going through, and 5 and 10 years up the road, we're going to be saying, we recovered because of Donald Trump.
Well, I think he's provided leadership, despite what the lefties and the Democrats and the media and all the usual, co-conspirators have to say. It doesn't really matter. The polls are indicating that people believe in the president's actions and leadership. But we need to learn something from this. We need to really learn how to be prepared, be in a better position, and we also need to get into the idea of finding these vaccines that are going to stop these things even before they get started. So there's a lot to it. But Mike, thank you for the call. And we take one more call maybe for just 1 minute. Let's see. Where is that? That is Jeff. You have 1 minute.
Hi.
Yeah, we have 1 minute, Jeff.
Okay, good evening. Well, I'll try to be quick. With all the people like myself trying to get through the unemployment to call and file a claim because we don't have a computer, a lot of like other people, why didn't they hire some more people to staff those phones? Maybe have those phone lines be open from 6 in the morning to 10 at night, Monday through Friday, maybe on the weekend.
Yeah, why not?
Why didn't they hire some more
Good
people?
point. Good point.
Like on a temporary basis, like department stores do.
Oh, I told you about the.
Excellent point. I think the governor should have done that.
That's why I was going to ask, who is in charge of that? Is it the governor?
It's the governor, absolutely.
Maybe somebody can pass that on to him.
I think somebody needs to do that.
There's going to be even more people trying to file unemployment next week, and the week after that, and the week after that.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Jeff didn't have much time, but he sure made sense, didn't he?
Yes, he sure did.
Maybe we'll send that along to the governor.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think we can do that. All right, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Valerie. You did a good job. Thank you, Ron Savage. And
you're welcome.
Tom's coming up in the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Always remember, truth and knowledge guarantee liberty. Keep the faith, keep punching.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore, and WCBM.com.
Desperate for more supplies. I'm Mary Corsetti, Fox News. There's an intense
WCBM, the
demand
more
for
show.
protective equipment for doctors and nurses on the front lines of the coronavirus battle. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says New York has secured a plane load of ventilators from China. The move highlights the extreme measures state leaders are taking as they try to secure enough life-saving devices. But during the coronavirus task force briefing today, President Trump says the government is working to give the states only the supplies that they need and not anything extra.
We've been asking states to provide us
No, you're caller number
daily
one right now.
updates on the number of ventilators and their utilization rates, because some states have more ventilators than they need.
Sure.
They don't even like to admit it.
All right.
Admit it when everything's over, but that's doesn't help us very much.
The number of people infected in the U.S. has now exceeded 300,000, with the death toll climbing past 8,400.
That's smart.
The president added that he's assessing the need state by state.
We're bringing some of the ventilators. We got some for New Jersey yesterday, and we're going to bring them some more, including doctors. We're getting doctors, nurses, respiratory specialists, and other support workers. These are from the military. We're taking people now out of our military. We've been doing it, but now we're doing it on a larger basis.
New Jersey has recorded over 34,000 cases of coronavirus and over 800 deaths. New York, more than 113,000 cases and over 3,500 deaths. And it isn't only governors getting desperate. Police in Arizona say a cleaning employee has been fired from his hospital job after being arrested for stealing personal protective equipment and cleaning supplies in recent weeks. As the coronavirus outbreak worsened, 49-year-old Keith Brown of Prescott was arrested yesterday after police found numerous items in Brown's car and home, including gloves, hand sanitizer, masks, and toilet paper. America is listening to Fox News.
I'll tell you why.
Usually something that I'd rather just take part.
With coronavirus still spreading.
Yeah.
And I'm going to catch some shit from it.
No. I'll take, because he dropped his call 2 times. 2 times. He was calling in the morning and he went to 4. I was on the toilet. I said, okay, you know. Oh, I want to show you something before I go. Remember I was telling you about that screen? I mess with people like 3 in the morning. They walk by or something, you know, leaving because there's a hotel next door, you know. The DoubleTree. I told you. And then, well, look, here it is. So I'll go. I'll turn that on. I'll see who's out there. Go. Help me, Lord. Someone saves me, please. God. Oh, wait a minute. It was on. I was like, oh, okay, Charlie, is that you, Charlie? Come on in, Charlie. Charlie, what happened? And I'll do that, and then they'll be standing at the door amazed. Yeah, bada boom. But anyways, hey, look, everybody take it easy and have a good night, have a good weekend, everything else. And tune in next week. And you never know when a savage stream may appear.